Let me take you back to the late 90s. Video games had taken a massive leap in technology unlike anything the world had ever seen. The Nintendo 64 launched in 1996 with Super Mario 64, a game with a fully 3D environment to explore and various vast levels. Following suit with the 3D platforming trend would be Crash Bandicoot in the same year, Sonic Adventure in 1998, etc. However, I feel that the cream of the crop of 3D platformers from this era came from Rareware. They previously developed Donkey Kong Country, a revolutionary game for the Super Nintendo, but when that new technology came along, these motherfuckers knew what to do. Banjo Kazooie was what I consider the prime example of how they conquered 3D platforming in the late 90s. The levels were filled to the brim with things to do and collect. The collectibles in particular made the game so much more involved. The player was encouraged for exploring and searching for new things to do. Rareware was so good at creating rich worlds for the players to become invested in. So with Rareware setting the groundwork for 3D platformers with games like Banjo Kazooie, other developers had a lot to live up to. Holy shit! So Krome Studios had their idea for Competitor in 2002. I actually saw this commercial when I was a kid, and you bet your ass I was intimidated. It could also be I was very young and easily shat my pants at the time, but whatever. This guy, Ty the Tasmanian tiger, was supposed to be the next big anthropomorphic animal mascot in town. Following in popular platformers' footsteps, Ty was gonna kick some ass and take names. Now, I only played this game for the first time in 2014. I had to wait 12 years to finally get my hands on Ty. Did it live up to my tremendous expectations? Well, let's find out. I'm Liam Triforce, and this is Ty the Tasmanian Tiger for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, I'd like to address how welcoming the title screen is in this game. The theme tune is extremely memorable, and while nothing seems too flashy, I started to become intrigued by the game. It's not extreme levels of intriguing, but it certainly put me in a good mood. The opening cutscene really adds to that as well. The story itself, though, in Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is not really that interesting. Not that I really expected it to be. It's a platformer. It involves an evil turkey named Boss Cass stealing magic talismans and trying to become the ruler of Australia. Also, Ty is the last of his kind or something. I seriously didn't pay any attention to the story in this game. Believe me, I tried. I guess Boss Cass is trying to be at the top of the food chain by stealing these talismans. I'm sorry, it's just not interesting to me. I'm also confused about that last part. He wants to stop mammals from being at the top of the food chain. No, that's not how biology works. You can't do that. Fuck it, it's a video game. If there's anything that did grab me about the story, though, it was its presentation. I really like the CG cutscenes in the game, and the voice acting is top-notch and really enjoyable.
I found you a second boomerang.
That's great! Where is it?
See that tree over there?
Yeah?
Well, it's not there.
The dialogue is also really funny, and sometimes poetic.
Look, mate, life wasn't meant to be easy. Beauty, butler, bonza!
Now, I've heard multiple people say that the accents and stereotypes in this game are absolutely awful and offensive. But to those people, I'd like to inform you, Krome Studios is an Australian company. This is all in good fun. I also learned quite a bit of new terminology.
You ripper! But if you ask me, I think it's a load of bull dust. Oh, you little ripper, Ty! You found a fair dinkum rainbow scale!
Either way though, this game has personality, and that's commendable in any game. If I'm playing through a video game, I want it to have a noticeable motivational factor in it. Something that continues to make the world believable and the goal, mundane or not, worth fighting for. This game captivates that well. It can be a little shaky in some areas, but for the most part, the game is compelling. The first level we're dropped into is 2 Up. This level serves to teach us the mechanics of the game and the environments we can look forward to exploring. Rather than being a typical tutorial level, this game tries to be humorous and upbeat. It was a fantastic way to introduce me to Ty's world. I looked forward to playing this game. And because of the mechanics I learned, I knew I was gonna have a blast. For starters, Ty here fights with boomerangs. Yeah, go figure. In addition to taking down baddies, he can use them to solve puzzles and activate objects. There are a wide array of boomerangs Tai can use by defeating bosses and collecting golden cogs. Every time he defeats a boss, he'll get an elemental boomerang, such as the Flamerang, the Frostyrang, and the Zappyrang. Every time Tai collects 15 golden cogs, he'll get a specialized Technorang from the machine Mari here calls
The Cogulacious Boomerangulus Extrapolator.
These Technorangs have so many great uses. The Zoomerang allows you to snipe enemies and hit things far away. The Megarang allows you to bounce your boomerang off of other enemies repeatedly. And the Multirang allows you to go fucking berserk and throw like 70 million boomerangs at once. As you can probably tell, it's my favorite. Speaking of collecting stuff, this game is a 3D collectathon platformer, so as you'd expect, you'll be doing a lot of that. These little things are called opals, and collecting 300 of them grants you a Thunder Egg. Thunder Eggs are your main Power Star or Jiggy-esque item in this game. Don't ask me what a Thunder Egg is, because I have no idea. I'm not even sure the game really knows. These are your keys to unlocking the path to each talisman. Which is why I question who in their right mind would want to keep it from Tai if they want him to save Australia. Why do NPCs in these types of platformers do that? If they don't want to die a horrible death, it'd probably be a good idea to just fork over the damn things, but no. They'll have our hero, like, drive to the store and buy their groceries or something before they hand over the goddamn Thunder Egg that's supposed to save their lives. I'm pretty sure staying alive is more important than your errands you have to run, guys. Like, come on. Tai's just one guy. You can't expect him to do all of that on his own. He's already got a lot on his plate. Just, like, cool off for a second. Like, calm down. You can also find 5 bilbies, and once you find them all, they'll give you a Thunder Egg. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's basically the equivalent to finding all the Jinjos in Banjo Kazooie. Structurally, Tai the Tasmanian Tiger borrows elements primarily from Banjo. Why do I keep saying FUM? Chum is FUM. Structurally, Tai the Tasmanian Tiger borrows elements primarily from Banjo, as a lot of collectathons from this era did. It's the level design, aesthetics, and personality of this game that make it stick out. The level design is immersive and well thought out. I love looking around for collectibles, and I love how upbeat the whole game seems. I tend to eat that shit up in platformers, if I may be honest, but Tai really does make the world seem believable. There are interesting ways of solving puzzles and exploring areas. Most situations involve the boomerangs, but some situations actually require thinking outside of the box to solve puzzles and fight enemies. The prime example actually happens in the last third of the game, and it's a good one. After learning all of the mechanics in the game, as well as solutions to problems beforehand, the game tests you with Liar Liar Pants on Fire. Great name, I know, but hear me out. Lenny the Lyrebird is, of course, a filthy liar. In order to traverse this level, you've got to think around what he's telling you. It starts out with simple things such as taking an alternate path or pressing a hidden button instead of the one he's referring to.
This button opens the door!
He never shuts up, by the way. Also, doesn't he sound a tad like Gilbert Gottfried? Anyways, later in the level you'll come across a furnace that Lenny tells you to heat up. He's really telling the truth this time, guys! He's actually not. When you try to, it explodes and he tells you to heat it up faster. Now think, what can we do now? He wants us to heat it up faster, but it'll just explode. He's lying. What if we do the opposite of what he says? That's a good idea. But how do we slow down the heating process? The Frostyrang you just got in the boss! That shit is clever. I love it when games do that. Another example I really like is the second boss battle, in which you have to have this robot shark bite these propane tanks? I think that's what they are. And then ignite them with the Flamerang. Maybe it's just me, but I had to think about this one. Maybe I'm just stupid. Listen, I'm praising this game for something. Calm down. This continues up until the final boss. Cass's Pass and Cass's Crest keep you on your toes at all times. Even this Bat Lady presents some form of challenge. The final boss itself as you take down Boss Cass while fending off frills and whatnot. The only drawback is the part where you use the Doomerang, given to you by a bad guy turned good named Sly.
I found you, Faker!
Look at how long it takes for the Doomerang to travel to Cass. Someone can make you 2 sandwiches and a goddamn glass of milk in the time it takes this boomerang to reach its destination. Either way, generally a fun game in terms of design right to the finish. However, this game's design isn't always the greatest in my opinion. Let's tackle the 2 levels I dislike as a whole. Bridge on the River Tai is the level I hate the most. It's incredibly dark all the time, making collectible hunting a pain, and there's this overarching escort mission that I really wish didn't exist. You have to guide this chameleon fellow to his house, but the problem is, you have to light these fires and they go out after a certain period of time. So you can't really wander off and fetch opals and cogs, you're stuck on this path until he's safe and sound. You can, in theory, skip this mission, but here's the thing. Each level has a primary objective you're informed of at the beginning. I like doing them to become acquainted with the level. So naturally, I did this one, and got upset by having to escort this guy first. This is more of a personal experience kind of thing, but regardless, my issues with this level still stand. In addition to this, there's actually a big problem with objectives in general in this game. Maybe it's just me, but I don't like the fact that you have to talk to people to make objectives actually work. Hear me out for a second. In Walk in the Park, I found some bats in a cave. I actually got the idea to escort them out, but they would always stop at a certain point and go back. So I left the cave to find Ranger Ken just standing there. I spoke to him and he informed me of escorting bats out of a cave. Yup, that same cave I had already tried escorting bats out of. This happens on more than one occasion and it's detrimental to the game's design. I mean, Mario 64 and Banjo Kazooie didn't do this. I'll call this term objective blocking. It's never a good thing in your game. Anyways, as for the other level I dislike, it's that level that looks like shipwrecks on steroids in the last third of the game. This level is too big for its own good. All the collectibles are spaced out and there's a lot of nothing happening as a result of this. It's not fun. Other than that, there's also the bosses in this game. Aside from the boss I mentioned earlier that I found clever, the rest of them are either too easy or, in the first boss's case, broken. Here's the situation. I'm trying to guide this bull into a rock pillar by stepping out of the way at the last second. Either he doesn't go fast enough no matter where I'll stand, he'll miss the pillar and crash into the wall, or he'll miss the pillar, swerve around, and hilariously crash into another pillar. Ah well, at least it has amazing music. Now there's one last issue I want to mention, and it's a strange glitch that occurs in shipwrecks. During speech, both Rex and this seahorse that I don't remember the name of switch to another language.
Remember,
Quand tu seras dans l'eau, appuie sur le bouton morsure pour plonger et sur le bouton saut pour nager.
okay, no worries.
Stay out of the way of those! Appuie sur le bouton action pour nager dans la cage. Appuie sur le bouton action pour en sortir.
Both times this happened, it scared me. I was utterly confused. It's definitely weird, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning. Why did this happen? I'm so confused, please help. Now, as this game is made by an Australian company, the environments in this game are actually inspired by the Australian wilderness. With that on the table, for someone like me that knows diddly squat about the country other than Perth looks like a place I want to visit someday, I can't speak for the accuracy of the levels. But what I do know is this is a fucking pretty game. I love how vibrant everything seems and the designs really make the levels come to life. What adds to that is the music. The music in this game is one of its best attributes. It can strengthen any environment or feeling in-game. Badass, calming, upbeat, Ty's got you covered. Aside from a few dull tracks in the last set of levels, the soundtrack in this game is top-notch. And that's all I have to say about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. It's not as good as I think Krome wanted it to be, but you know what? It's a really solid 3D platformer. And a unique one at that. I can see why it's beloved by so many people. Despite the issues I mentioned, it's worth a play. This game was actually re-released on Steam in HD this year, so that's the version I'd recommend you pick up if you're interested in the game. As I said before, it's not really the collectathon elements that make the game fun, although that obviously is part of it if I love the level design so much. It's the clever ways that they engage the players in collecting things throughout the levels. And for that, I commend Krome Studios' work. Hello and welcome to the end slate for this video. I'm Sick. I'm the friendly voice at the end of the video that's supposed to tell you to like and share it around if you will like the video. And subscribe if you want to see more reviews and stuff. The other thing I also do if you're new to this channel is I do voice-acted Let's Plays. It's a transformative type that I felt would just be just a change of pace in Let's Plays in general, and it's a lot of fun. And not only that, but anyone can audition. Right now, Mega Man X is going to be a thing after I finish up Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure. And the audition page is right there in the description. You can click that if you want to try out. My dog's chewing the carpet. Anyways, I should probably go take a nap now that this video's done. But yeah, I love you all. I want to give you all big hugs. Maybe, preferably, when I'm better so that I don't get you sick too. Anyways, ciao.
Kids these days, computers, internet, mobile phones, it drives them mad.